right. This is still Biashara Tuesday. Where are your tweets? Where are your comments? Where are your WhatsApp messages? Send them through. Send it to my personal number if you have it. Send it to my Twitter account or X account to make a Talia Twitter, but it's X now. So send it to our X at KUTV Kenya at Richard_Okenye, or send me a DM as well. I don't mind. I have two gentlemen with me, Ojwang Mariam and Nick Mwangi. They are sharp as usual. Dress sharply, sharp in mind and also body and character, and we are here to get their sentiments and their opinions and their reactions on what is happening in the dailies. I'll also try and get what you have to say. Get yourself a copy of either of this. Let me real quick read the headlines because you have the same paper, the Daily Nation, the Standard and the Business Daily, and then I'll have the gentlemen come in, introduce themselves and give their general comments before we get into the specific details of the stories that we have here. The State of the Nation is what we'll have to begin with. And for my part, let me read what the Daily Nation says here. How Treasury is abetting 437 billion Adani secret deals. How Treasury is abetting 437 billion Adani secret deals. Treasury has taken advantage of a loophole in procurement laws to secretly enter into contracts without going through a competitive process. And this has been sparingly used in the Kibaki and Uhuru eras. And this clause has now found foundation in what has come to be the controversial multi-billion shilling tenders with Adani, the Indian conglomerate company, Adani Group. This page is on story 10. It's the story that takes precedence in the Daily Nation. But hapa chini, we have DP Gachagua, impeached DP Gachagua, who's raised storms over his case. Anaonekana hapo mlima yake ishaguzwa. Then we have the Business Daily here with me. Kenyans with over 500,000 in bank revealed. Kenyans with over 500,000 in bank revealed. And I already hinted a bit of that. Let me allow Ojwang Mariam to let us know what the Standard has. Thank you so much.
The Standards wanaongea kuhusu politics versus the law. Wanasema case begin. An unprecedented an unprecedented battle will take place in the corridors of justice starting today. Marriage issues are on the table in what is turning out to be an epic battle between the president, parliament, impeached deputy president, and judges. While pundits contend politics usually wins over the law, Chief Justice Martha Koome and her officials have their work cut out. Leo ndo tunaenda kuona kipindi cha pili sasa, starring Elisha Ongoya. Advocate Njoro watakuwa hapo hivyo mahakamani trying to fight for what the Standard are also calling inside Gachagua's court battles relentless fight for career, reputation and protect fortune. Sisi na Sudan tuko on the same page. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ojwang Mariam.
Thank you very much, Ojwang Mariam, for that introduction and of course letting us know tuna expect nini in the Standard. Nick Mwangi.
Yes, my brother.
It's been a long time.
It is indeed.
Welcome back to Biashara Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
You know, I once told you, Richard, it is better to choose a good mother for your children than a beautiful wife to yourself. I once told you that.
Yes.
We once spoke about that Nakumincha must go. She's gone home.
You are the first to say it. I have to always remind people.
I told you that the minister, cabinet secretary for education must go. He's now home. Now, unfortunate situation that the second in command has put the people of the mountain a lot of pain, a lot of struggles, a lot of heartache in the name of Usiguze Murima. Now we are torn in between why he took us there in the first place and the crisis that we are in as a country. But that's beside the point.
Yes.
Because we have so many things to talk about. Backstage, we were discussing here with Madam Ojwang that by the end of this month or November, over 9,000 students will be graduating from Form 4 or their A levels, where are they going? Nobody is still talking about the SHA endorsement. Nobody is still talking about the new education funding model.
That's been thrown under the carpet.
But we are fully focused on the politics of the day. And I told you from day one, when emotions are whipped, people make decisions based on emotions. And people are waiting. People are getting angry about the day. And I told you, if you remember very well.
Yes, you have.
I told you that it will reach a time people will go to the street. The Gen Z came and people were still sad. People were still filled with anxiety. And the more that this government is making people more anxious, more emotional, this government will not survive.
Right.
Yes.
One thing I have to say again, which I have said, Nick seems to be always ahead of what is coming up. That Gen Z protest, Gen Z-led protest that happened in June, came months after you kept saying that emotions will push us to get to the streets.
Yes.
And eventually, indeed, we did get there. Those are important issues to discuss in this day and age. The university funding model, 960,000 KCSE candidates sitting for KCSE beginning today, and we are sure only a few of them will make the cut to get to university. And in the few that will make it to university, there's not much funding that is there available to them. Given we already have a crisis on the first years who are in school, that is brushed aside. We have the Adani deal that is going on currently, multi-billion, and I will have to commend the Daily Nation, if it's anything to go by, who have prioritized this headline, how Treasury is abetting 437 billion Adani secret deals. This is a more relevant story to the people of Kenya than the political and legal drama that is surrounding Gachagwa's case. Given, when I was having a look at that presser by DP Gachagua, by ousted DP Gachagua outside of Karen Hospital, he had this. I felt like he copied the same speech that DP Ruto again gave back then. President, tafadhali samehea familia yangu, usiniguze, kama unapambana mimi, pambana na mimi. And then you have your wife just next to you crying, same script, just different people. So whipping our emotions again, but only for their political gain. So it seems there is a lot of play when it comes to emotions in this republic, and we have to be very, very careful where we draw the line when it comes to logic, serious issues, and where our emotions are being manipulated with or without our knowledge. Ojwang Mariam.
I remember talking about emotions before we went for the Senate. And the National Assembly was full of emotions. If you looked at how the members of National Assembly were debating on the Gachagua impeachment motions, they were like, mimi alikuja kwangu akanichangia pesa za rorashio, alafu akaenda huko nje kunianika, anafaa aende home. But I told you something, even if party politics will play in the Senate, at least we will hear about facts and facts checking away from emotions.
Yes.
That happened.
Yes, it did.
But bado party politics played
at the very final stage.
Alienda home. Hizo emotions, we are not supposed to be having them. We used to cry saying that we must impeach all of them. They must go home, all of them. But when we have managed to touch one, tumeshaanza na mtu wetu psychology. Wanatutoanga na hiyo. Mimi ni wa Murima, mimi ni wa Murima. This Murima has a kingpin. But the deputy president number 1, kuna deputy president wawili. Deputy president number 1, aliishi kulia for those 2 years akisema yeye ni mkubwa wa Mrima. Now imagine if he was the kingpin of Mount Kenya.
If indeed he was.
Atungekuwa mahali tuko. I hear Sanik saying that Mount Kenya wanalia. Jana I was talking with some of people who are senior than myself. And wao hawali. Kama wao hawali, why are we crying? If Gachagua goes back to office today, how do you gain? as a common mwananchi who is not in that shareholder party agreement walifanya ya Kenya Kwanza, you are not gaining. People who will gain bado watakuwa ni mkubwa wa peke yake mwenye alisema mimi nataka tu speaker. Alipa kama ile ya Omoshi.
Karibu kitu moja mimi nitulie.
Nipe speaker. Huyo mwingine ni wa chama cha kazi. Alisema mimi bora mniangalie na jicho la huruma. In fact he did not say what he wanted. Juu angekuwa CS bado. Si ule wa kufinywa mkono. Bado wako kwa CS.
Kabisa.
But yuko juu hakupeana terms zake fiti. Alisema bora
mnipatie kitu.
So hao ndo watafaidika. Hizi vitu zote za politics zikiendelea.
Even now
wanataka ziende.
Even now with the new appointments, I'm sure there is a new document ambayo Sharon already shareholder.
Hiyo yote haihusu wewe kama Mkenya wa kawaida. It doesn't concern you. Can we be talking about how Adani are taking up the transport sector of the whole country,
right?
Energy sector, health sector, but back in India, protests are ongoing because of their corruption, because of their fraud in their own motherland.
Yes.
The face of Adani is still Asian. The hands and the head, as they say,
yes,
is Kenya.
Right.
And not Kenya because I'm not part of it. Is one man.
Yeah.
Sasawa.
Right.
So as that is happening, bado Swiss bank accounts za Adani with over 43 billion bado ziko freeze, ziko frozen.
Yes.
Kwa nini? Due to corruption. Hapa Kenya tunawapatia the whole of the country wako. They are now collaborating even with the Safaricom juu ya mambo ya healthcare system. Ati wanataka shift na SHA iendelee. As that is happening, hata heri tuongelele ule chief wa Misheveve, but
not this chief.
This chief is not helping us.
Yes. So those are key issues which Kenyans have been forced to forget, at least temporarily, for the past 4 weeks.
But
and zina happen coincidentally during this political drama that is going on, which, as we had begun discussing some time back, I felt like even the impeachment process itself was initiated by Ruto and Gachagua sitting together and saying tomorrow tuanzishe drama ya impeachment. Whether that is true or not, it does not concern me.
Kweli.
The one thing that I know that is for sure, it is distracting me from the things that are actual real issues happening in the Republic. Nick, a lot of chess pieces are moving today. One, there is a DCI summon to DP number 1 Gachagua, that he should show up and answer to the allegations of assassination attempts which were conducted in his life or attempted in Kisumu and in Nyeri. And earlier on my producer was asking me, how do we easily move on just like that when someone of that level mentions there have been assassination attempt. There's an assassination attempt on the second in power, and it's just mentioned casually, and everything moves on, and we are talking about other things. He's been summoned by DCI to answer to exactly what he means and who is involved, because he's mentioned the bodies which are responsible, being the National Intelligence Service and undercover police officers. That is happening. He's waiting on the courts, Chief Justice Martha Koome and 3 other judges, to decide whether his impeachment was right or whether the due process was followed. There is another court case that is seeking to lift that ban on Kindiki getting sworn into office. So much drama, and the Star is calling it politics versus the law. Which pieces should we be looking at on that chessboard?
If you have read The Art of War,
yes,
by Sun Tzu,
I have.
You will have to be careful when you choose your battles, because the really important is the war. And I told you here before, Richard, when the Gen Zs went on the street, I did my math. Approximately a population on an X platform, Twitter, or formerly Twitter, a conversation that ran up to 100,000 people. 100,000 people. So I was doing my math. The voter registration as guided by IEBC 2019, we have 20 million voter registration, right? Now I'm doing my approximation to pre-2027. So we are going to get from 20 million, I'm adding another let me be realistic, 5 million. That is 25 million. And I'm doing my math. 100,000 divided by 25 million. We are yet to get at 1%. So it means the conversation of what we did not get where we want to go. So how do we win the war, yet we are still
losing the battle?
Losing the battle. So, and that's what I'm saying here, it's very critical we understand that the common mwananchi, the same way they are whipping the emotions, we need to whip them the emotions to understand that this is their country. Sweat and blood. We pay taxes. We wake up every single morning by sweat and blood to make sure there's stability in this country. They need to understand. Mama Mboga in Kisii County, where you come from, needs to get it right. Mama Mboga, where I come from, Roysambu, needs to get it right. This thing moves beyond Gachagua. It moves beyond William Ruto. It is about us. Sovereignty of the people. That's when we fix this nation.
Right.
That is when we fix the issue of Adani. Otherwise, it will be a conversation left on the media. Because right now, 25th of June, we're on 22nd of October. That is how many months from now? 5 months.
5 months later.
So it was just another wave. So how many waves are we going to have? These are people who have been in the game for more than 30 years. They know how to move the chessboard. They know when to attack. They know when to go to war. They know when to consolidate. We need to re-strategize as young people.
Okay.
We need to stop fighting the battle and focus on the war.
Right.
The war is 2027.
And already, they're whipping up emotions because if we have this kind of headline, which is moving to across the country to those 20 million plus people, at what point will we also come and whip their emotions and tell them, Cheki, this is not what we need to focus on. We need to focus on other issues, which means they're 10 steps ahead in very many fronts.
Exactly. And I told you here before, it is very unfortunate that we as the Kenyan voters, we don't vote logically. We vote emotionally, based on ethnicity. That Ojwang Mariam is coming from Roysambu is based on a particular ethnicity. Now that he cannot see, since he's a brilliant mind, he cannot do effective change based on who he is as a person, not what he can do for Roysambu. Now that Nick has aspiration in Roysambu and he's from a particular ethnicity, he cannot perform because his people have to eat. And you see, this is a culture that has grown over 50 years. How do we finish it within one day?
It can't be just a day. It can't be just a day.
And that's what we are telling the young people. Let us re-strategize. Let us come. Let us think. Let us organize.
Right.
So that when we attack, we're not going to lose the war. Right now, Adani is a sealed deal. Chief is a sealed deal. Right? Are we understanding the powers we have on the Constitution? The same powers that we went on the street, that we shook this country. The same power that made a whole change of cabinet. Though not much, but significant.
Yes, still something.
It should tell Kenyans that the power belongs to the people.
Definitely. Right. So, page 8 and page 9 is where you'll find that story that we don't like, which is politics versus the law. The story of Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto, and their friends, because they're all friends. So you can read that on page 8. The Daily Nation calls it, or asks a question, which is, did Ruto Senate bypass poll body in swift deputy replacement? So the vote on impeachment happened in Senate at around midnight, and less than 10 hours later, Kithure Kindiki had already been cleared by a host of bodies, including an unconstituted IEBC, which we still wonder how it happened. Overnight, IEBC, KRA, anti-corruption, EACC. I'd like you to go to Kiambu Road and try to get a certificate of good conduct and tell me how many hours or how many days that's going to take you. Or if you're someone like me who tried to replace their national identification card last year and hasn't received it to date, you'll need to tell me how possible it is that this happened so fast. And that's what the Daily Nation That's what the Standard is asking actually on page 8, which is, did Ruto and Senate bypass Paul Body in swift deputy replacement? I don't know if they should have texted me this question. I'd have just said yes, because the answer is a very clear yes. That's page 8 and page 9 of the Standard. I don't know where they can get it on the Daily Nation there, Nick. Does it have? Yes, Gachagua. That's page 4.
Yeah, page 4 of the
lightning speed.
Yes,
is what they're calling it. Hapo hivyo. Ojwang Mariam. Kabla tujatupilia mbali, bado maoni yako, what is happening with DP Gachagua, if it was something that was to be followed?
Senator Methu,
yes,
from Nyandarua says on page 7, senators were paid off to kick out DP. Wow. National Assembly, utasikia bado they were paid off. Wao kwanza walilipwa after kuvote, each 500k. By morning, the National Assembly, after the Senate voted, by morning, National Assembly had cleared and approved.
And all of them voted yes.
IEBC the same. Sahizi, every constituency that they feel their MP is not representing them, is not doing oversight, is not doing any legislation like Risambo, can't recall their MPs because we have no IEBC. Na hicho ndo kitu wanasema. We have some areas that need by-election for seats ndogo kama MCA. Juu hakuna IEBC. IEBC hii ingine yenye ilikuja na ikasema the DP seat is vacant, imekuwa cleared na wame clear huyo mwingine ni nani? Saa hizi bado hatuna IEBC, si ndio? Hatuna parliament. Hatuna airport. Hatuna health anymore, it's not working. As that is happening, what they are calling affordable housing bill, the Standard wanasema is still a ploy. It's the Daily Nation. That Nairobi County wanaenda kutafuta title deeds wanapata. Sonko, Governor Sonko ndiye akona title deed za some of these houses zenye tunaita affordable housing. Wao ndo players kila mahali, unaona?
Shock of Sonko holding titles for affordable housing land.
But saa hiyo huku kwingine vitu zinaenda mbio ingine ati ziku confuse wewe. But the good thing is we have one person whom just like the DP vile anasema DP anasema DP alleges bias irregularities hours before court case. Haamini
CJ Koome.
Yes. Na haamini pia Nurdin Haji. So uko kote hatuna imani, si ndio? Hapa kotini tunaweza kosa imani kwa mtu mmoja, the CJ. But we have other judges. As Kenyans, we still need to have hope. That's one thing I keep saying. Because we have a constitution. We may lack constitutionalism. We have a constitution. We are still in a democratic country. Yenye iko na 2 deputy presidents, si ndio? So wacheni wapige hiyo siasa yao. Wacheni watu distract. Do you know why? Because you cannot stop them from distracting Kenyans. They have the money, they have the power, they know the game, just like tumesema. 30 years wamekuwa hapo hivyo. Wewe ndo unaingia 26. 30 years wamekuwa wakicheza hiyo politics.
Longer than I've been alive.
Wewe ndo unataka kuingiza mguu kwa siasa. Sawa? The game is the same. They distract you, distract them. Don't focus on their, kama wanasukuma porn, don't focus on the porn. Only the wise will do that. Let me tell you what the fools will do.
Don't focus on their manufactured distraction.
Let me tell you what the fools will do. In Kajiado or Narok, where Morara was attacked, they said they are attacking him juu anaenda kufichua miradi ya gavana ile mbaya. Can I tell you who those are? Those are the elder generation of us, the millennials. Na sio wengi. That's the hope I want to sell to the youths. Sio wengi. Bado 1993 kushuka hivi, a whole generation occupies over 55% of Kenyan voters. If those people on 2027 will go out to vote, things will not be the same again.
All right.
And if it will not happen in the whole country, for sure I can tell you that half of Kenya counties will work well from 2027 unless vijana wao waamue we fight all this alafu tupate hiyo power na tuharibu. But wakataka, they can change. I give you an example of Kirinyaga. Kirinyaga has 22 wards. 22 wards. If they can get only 10 MCAs who are youths, vitu zita change. We are not supposed to be having a country of more than 55% are youths, but when it comes to tendering systems and giving opportunities to the youth, wanapata 30%.
Yeah.
Youths should not focus on this fight, but wakaitu wakijua iko usiparticipate nayo, iko hata achana nayo. Kipata chance hata usiongee siasa. Jisukume.
Because this is their confusion, this is their plan. Na umesema pia wakitu confuse, pia sisi tunatafuta venye tuna distract. June 25th was a good distraction.
Good.
Yes.
Na hiyo confusion haijaisha. If you have been on X or Twitter, acha tu niite Twitter juu tushazoea.
True. Si walazimishe muite X.
Yes.
Ndio analazimisha watu waite
Yes.
X. Okay, Twitter.
Hapo Twitter.
Yes.
People are being paid na inakuja by Adani to sanitize Adani. Nasikia watu wakilia, ati sijui Asamo amelipwa sijui nini. Bro,
achana nayo.
Poverty. Haikuhusu. Kama sio wewe umelipwa uongelelea Adani kusanitize, haikuhusu. Can you focus on what you can do, because there is something that every one of us can do. Kwa nini basi we are all created in the image and likeness of God? Because we are all gods.
I like that.
Focus on winning the war, not these battles. Every battle in a camp tuna lose. Tuna make step ahead, but tuna lose
your battle.
Let's not focus on the battle.
All right.
Let's not focus on Rigathi. Kwa nini wetu?
Nick,
yes.
kuna small bit that brings a bump into that road. Okay. The journey that we've described to, how we can beat them at their own game, or, how Kenyans can wake up to the realization that this is a game. Because there's also that acknowledgement kwanza ya, kila mtu aelewe kwamba, guys, hii ni game. Sasa shida ni moja, IEBC. The Standard has asked whether Ruto and his people bypassed, the relevant bodies for the approval of Kithure Kindiki, which the answer is an obvious yes. Ojwang amepoint out to a story where, there's Senate kusema watu walilipwa wa vote hivi na hivi, na hizo ni story tumezoea kusikia. Watu wanalipwa wafanye hivi, watu wanalipwa wafanye hivi. Which means, even at the constitution of a new IEBC, Ruto will beat us to the starting line or to the finish line. He could manipulate it and have a body of IEBC ikuwe sawa. Mnataka mreconstitute IEBC, ndio hii, ndio hawa, approve with parliament, my own people approve it. How do we beat a game that is already rigged from inside?
The quagmire that we find ourselves in, Richard, is in the first place is how did we find ourselves that the appointing authority of an independent electoral body of elections is only hired by the president? Look at what we did at the judiciary. Today, the president cannot wake up and just appoint a CJ. There's a process, there's a body that ensures that a vetting is done. Qualified members of the learned are being vetted. It is the same spirit that we should carry in the election body. But this is a very sensitive place that one wants to make the place Kenyans to feel as if this independent body has lost faith in its functionality. Because ideally, constitutional-wise, the president has the mandate. He is just a signatory of what the parliament approves. The same way, he can only approve. But with time, I told you, how we survive as a country, let us build structures. Minimize on the politics. Because once you have structures, me and you can wake up and go to job. We minimize the issues of unemployment. Let us focus on building our systems that are not dependently on the politics of the day. I tell you today, Richard, whether Trump or Kamala becomes president, it does not affect the unemployment rate in US. Whether UK decide to have a different prime minister, it does not affect the unemployment rate, the healthcare systems. What they will be talking about is different policies.
What is to be added on top?
What's to be added on top? That is where we need to get as a country. That is the conversation that we need to have. You know, it's a sad situation that I find myself most of the time I think about, that the common mwananchi, as by Constitution 2010, still thinks that kazi ya MP ni kujenga barabara. You understand? Kazi ya MP ni kujenga, you understand? And that is the same spirit that we, aspiring MP, will go to the state. We are forgetting that the 2010 Constitution gave us the evolution, Richard, that MP are supposed to be making laws. Now, that is what we are suffering from, Richard.
Yeah.
How do we convince our entire generation that we've actually moved on?
Yeah. That catch up.
Yes, we need to catch up.
Yes.
That is where we made a whole monster 2010. We are still reliving it. We are still even confused on how to implement it, because it is very difficult. From 1776, USA has only amended 7 times, and it's just an article. It did not even change the constitution. This constitution is very supreme. It is very dangerous.
Yeah.
So Kenyans need to sit down and understand, how do we make this constitution to work for us?
Right.
That is how we beat the IBC issue.
Right. It won't matter.
It won't matter.
Right. Whether you are conniving, you are sly,
it will not matter
at
because
that point.
What the president knows, he looks at the constitution, is advised by the lawyers, and looks at the loophole, is taken advantage of.
Yeah.
It's so simple. He knew that Chebukati will be going home. Let me delay the process. It will favor in my bargaining power, because, as my good friend is saying, we were supposed to recall so many MPs.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing, this guy knew this is just noise.
Yes.
This is just noise. And the MPs also knew they're just noisemakers.
Right.
We need to shift from becoming noisemakers to implementers. And it's understanding our tools of war.
Yes.
The one is the Constitution.
A very supreme
A
document.
very supreme document.
Yeah.
Let each and every Kenyan read. You don't need to be a lawyer. Let us wake up. Because the worst thing that can happen to you, Richard, is if you don't have information.
That's how they play you.
That's how they play you.
For
and
sure.
their people are making a lot of money, a lot of investment with information. Our president has so many advisors. His main work is just to listen to them and make a political decision.
Not an economic decision, clearly.
No. He has no interest in our economy. I told you that before.
He has no interest in the economy.
He has no interest, because if he had interest, okay, let's give it to him a little bit, because let's be fair. The only thing that he managed to convince us was President Uhuru Kenyatta, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, failed the economy. But ideally, the economy was crumbling down the whole world. Until today, US is still struggling. So we as a third country, how do we move on from COVID? So those are the things that Kenyans need to be taught, to be educated.
Okay.
That it will take us not just 4 years, even 10 years to recover from this economic issue. It's not easy. Countries have fallen. Look at what is happening in India. It's still economic crisis. So we as a country need to learn, need to look, need to understand.
Yeah.
So these are happening to our neighbors' countries.
Right.
The whole world today has a crisis of the economy. Even President Ruto understands that. Not even us, even if you're the best economical model or solution, can bring a solution to it. Because it is something that took us a whole year in the whole world.
The only difference being that President William Ruto has no interest.
I told you.
In the economic development.
Yes.
Yes, regardless of how bad it is for everyone else.
The unfortunate bit, Richard,
Yeah.
is I agree with Mariam. Come 2027, we are going to have a lot of young people in parliament, in the county assembly, in the Senate. Because Ruto is going to use that against us.
So he's still going to play us at
He's
our own
going
game?
to throw all MPs all the way, because that is politics of the day. And he's going to work with the new MPs to survive a second term. And that is why we must tell our people, let us not agree. Because if you're willing to go through this pain again, it's like if you have gone through a divorce or have gone through a heartbreak with your significant other, you are willing to go through another toxic relationship. No, let us be very serious.
Ojwang Mariam, before we move away from
from the IBC
political dramas, kitu nasikia tu mimi ni civic education.
You know, whatever we've been doing, we are on the right track. We're doing the right things. I hear Mwadime talking of punguze noise, tufanye. Endo kitu nimekuwa nikisema. You want to be an MP? Stop singing to us you want to be an MP. The moment you tell them you want to be an MP, they start fighting you from that point. Why don't you start being
an MP?
Act that an MP. Umeshika. And then in 2027, acha nikwambie kitu. Hata Rais Ruto achague brother yake akue IEBC chair. If he will win in 2027, itakuwa clean, free, fair. Nothing short of that. Hata hatutakuwa tukihitaji ati makanta zibebe evidence kwenda Supreme Court. It will be from that process. Juu tunajua, we know it's our future that is at stake. Bro, tutakuwa hapo hivyo kulinda.
It doesn't matter kama ni
brother yake through violence. No, see through violence. Have you ever seen yourself voting? You have never even taken a photo. But in 2027, voting itakuwa kila mtu ako TikTok live. Niko kwa line naenda kuvote. TikTok live. Na ukitoka hapo hivyo, the law clearly states 500 meters. After 500 meters, TikTok live. Unaingia hapo hivyo unapata mtu unataka kuvotia, hakuna ati hakuna naitwaje?
Returning officer?
Agent.
Yes. Mtu wako hana agent. Ati vile walisema Raila hakuwa na agents 2022.
That is not fair. Haitafanyika anymore.
They'll be self-appointed agents.
Who call themselves minority will be represented in 2027.
Yes.
If President Ruto will win, itakuwa clean
and fair.
That is why he will start looking for youths. Juu anajua ndo kusema aanze kutupa hawa wabunge wake under the bus.
Yes.
He has no friend at the moment. You are told that, Kenyans, but you refuse to believe. He used someone aende akatusi mwenzake akisemaga wewe ulienda ukakorogwa na mzee wa vitendawili, akamtusi akamkanyaga
yeah, na muangalia tu
and then akamtupa under the bus. Okenye, you are not even a drop in the ocean. You are nothing.
Yes.
But you are not alone.
Yes.
We are a lot of nothings. The same feeling you are feeling, ni wengi wako chini yako wana feel the same. That to us and to this government, we are nothing. The nothings will have something in 2027, believe it or not.
Or before 2027, hopefully.
Or before.
Yeah.
Some people have said it's not a must afiki hadi huko. Elisha Ongoya said on his Twitter account that he is starting the motion to impeach the president. Na tuache kukua watu wa kulia hata sisi sana. We were saying hawa wanafaa kuenda. Mbona mmoja akienda tunaanza kulia tena tunasema gai wanatoa wetu Koome tusaidie. The same Koome hata sasa hizi najua watch news. But I'm sure this time around that I watch because we are on her case. We don't want a chief justice who doesn't know what is happening in the country. Nick amesema we get lost ama they confuse us more because we don't have information. Now tell me of a CJ who doesn't have information about her own country. Where are we headed?
Yes, that's the current CJ. Invitation for submission of memoranda and public hearing. The Constitution of Kenya, Amendment Bill number 2 of 2024. Inasema hivi, that this was read for the first time in Senate on Thursday, the 26th September 2024, and thereafter stood committed to the Standing Committee on Justice. The bill seeks to amend the Constitution. There's a lot of things it seeks to amend, but I'm just going to point out a few things here so that here the gentlemen wanasemaje. Bill 6 to amend. First, to clarify, which I think is very important, he may be overlooked, but if this bill didn't have the rest of the issues, I think this one would have been really important. Clarify the role of Senate in exercising its oversight mandate over revenue allocated to, raised by, or otherwise received by the county governments and its expenditure. This is going to be very important. Kwanza kwa mtu kama Sakaja, we need to clarify on what the Senate should be able to do and should not do in the raising, allocation, and also the receiving. Because I think we sat here some few weeks back with Ojwang, and we saw that Sakaja had
over 12 billion increased revenue.
Right? So he increased revenue by a whole lot. And we need senators to also look at that revenue and see where it's going, because that's where now we lose it, even during the collection. However, the issues that Kenyans are now focused on right now, the bill seeks to amend the constitution in extend the term of office of a member of parliament from 5 years to 7 years. Extend the term of office of the president from 5 years to 7 years. Create the office of the prime minister, who shall be appointed by the president from amongst the members of parliament. Extend the term limit of a member of county assembly from 5 years to 7 years. Extend the term of office of a county governor from 5 years to 7 years. Yeah. So, 2027 or 2029, guys? Mnaongelelea 2027. Sisi tunaongelea 2029.
And I've told you here before, you know, these people are clever.
Yeah.
This bill was introduced to the Senate by one man called Senator Samson Cherargei from Nandi. This is the same guy who passionately defended Gachagua. I don't know if he was really escorting him to his grave.
Cheering
him. But ideally, you see, once you introduce a bill to public participation, you put clauses that really agitate the public mass. So ideally, what is being introduced into Senate? That's what we need to ask ourselves. Why are they rattling us with the term limits? Because that's where most Kenyans are focusing on, ideally. But that's just another distraction. We clearly know that the Constitution cannot allow it. We are focusing, the whole country is focusing on the term limit. We are missing the whole picture. What exactly are they introducing in Senate? Because that's not what they're introducing in Senate.
What is it?
That's the question you should be asking our Kenyans. What is it? Because their main mandate, what Senator Cherargei is trying to do is rattle the public. Rattle the public. And we are falling right into their trap.
So even that tribal division is going to come in?
Yeah.
As they have also tried to do it with the impeachment.
I totally assure you, you are being rattled for nothing. I want to agree with the first agenda, because I told you here before, we need to separate powers. Today, National Assembly is vetting the county government. Tomorrow, Senate is doing the same. There's collision of powers. We need to clearly separate them. That the country needs to understand that the resources allocation from the county, counties are states. They have their own presidents. We are joined with 47 presidents under one president, just like how US is. That Michigan or Arizona or whatever state can have its own revenue. If we as a country move into that space, that Nairobi County Governor Mariam Ojwang has this budget, has this revenue allocation, then it is very easy for the Senate to put him in check. But today, the whole revenue goes
to the national government.
So it's very difficult to
have the Senate have a check on that.
You understand?
That's true.
That's the quagmire we are in, because this National Assembly is still doing the same thing. You understand? So those are the things that we actually need to talk about at the public participation, because it is our taxes, it is our money.
Okay. Ojwang, 2029?
Before you're 2029, your first first item on that bill. On page 3, the standard. Governors want Treasury to release 100 billion to the counties. Na 100 billion ni accumulation of what same counties have been able to raise. Na wanapatia mtu. Ukishamaliza hivyo,
alafu nangoja kutumia.
We expect sisi tukuimbe Ruto siku zombo tote ndio sasa unipatie pesa.
Yeye nilikupea in the first place.
Yeye nilikupea in the first place. You had another day DP number 1 Rigathi Gachagua. Akilia niliona mpaka the immediate former COG chair Governor Anne Waiguru wakiwa hapo wakisema we are telling President Ruto to disperse money to the counties na hazifiki. Inaonyesha hakuna hiyo clear separation of powers. Yes. We don't have counties. Hizi counties zetu ni kama constituencies. Which is very different. A governor is not a representative of the county. A governor is a manager
of the county.
An MP is a representative. That is why governor anaweza tengeneza barabara na MP hawezi. Wewe kama MP kwanza kwetu hii kitu uniuma sana nikiongelelea mheshimiwa Kamande Mwafrika. And I'm calling him mheshimiwa just because alikula kiapo. That unamwambia tutengeneze barabara anaanza kulia sina pesa. Kwani anafaa atumie pesa zake? Kwani ni mandate yake kutengeneza barabara? All an MP is supposed to do is lobby. Not even to go to president to cry. You're supposed to go to Kera. You're supposed to go to Kura. Tell them this road was proposed. Everything is there. Why are you not doing your work? Oversight. A governor is supposed to do. Na ndio maana ma MCA hawatengenezewi barabara juu wanafaa walambe kisogo ya governor. Wamuoshe. Na usipomuosha unaambiwa hautapewa pesa. But Kenyans still continue to close their eyes, blindfold themselves. Wanasahau in those places that we call opposition areas. Wabunge wa huko are still doing it. How? Wewe mwenye unaimba Ruto ama governor wewe ndio haupati. Wale wengine wanafanya. Why are you not doing it? Because you don't know your role.
Because it has nothing to do with you doing it.
So your bill iko poa up to that point. The rest ni kelele. Hata ndio maana siongelee hiyo term limit na term.
Nimeshangaa wiki mbili hujaniongelesha mambo ya term.
Na wakileta itapita bro. Itapita bunge zote mbili. Itapita tu. Watamwaga pesa.
That is a very scary thing to know.
But ikikuja kwetu sisi tutareact aje tutaletewa public participation.
Lazima ikuje.
Changing a term limit should not be something of public participation then debate in parliament na it should be a referendum.
Yes.
Let us vote. Sisi tuseme yes or no. Si nyinyi wabunge watu 290 jua wengine wote ni nominated, they are not members of parliament. You cannot tell me that Senator Karen Nyamo
is a
senator just because she was nominated. Tell me 5 things she has done as a senator, not as an influencer, as a senator.
Kweli. So we cannot allow a few influencers and senators to decide to change the constitution overnight.
The Speaker of the Senate, during that impeachment motion, he said something Okenye had told you and had told Ngure that we will debate on facts and not emotions.
Yeah.
Aliwakumbusha akawaambia, this is not the time for you to get TikTok videos. Muuliza hapa maswali.
Za kwenda kutrend.
Unaona? So, hizo hatufai kuongelelea. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Focus on what is right.
I agree.
Whenever you see tumesema media and communication itatumika kusela dani. Whenever they tell you something about this or doubts arise of a body thought to be that of MCA Wajir, focus on what they are not telling you. Research. It's free information. Research. Kwenye hauna ulizia, tutakusaidia. We get information so that in 2027 we can change the country.
Right.
But the game is the same.
Still the game.
They are the players. What will help us ni you cannot teach old cats new tricks. We are the new cats
with the new
we know the old tricks. Jundo tulinyonya hayo maziwa tukapanda tukagrow, and we know the new tricks. Right now AI is taking over. Inatusaidia sana sisi kama youths. 2027 vile tu between June and July when we were protesting, walitengeneza a chat GPT ya kuweka wabunge in check, imejaa all information. By then tutakuwa mpaka na app
ya kumonitor elections,
tali na kumonitor those elections. There is a hope, guys.
Yes.
And believe it or not, 2027 we must have election. If we will not have election, I am telling you this, and I'm not telling you this as a leader. I'm telling you this just like any other normal citizen. Vile tuko na madipi wawili. By 2027 it's either jeshi ama constitution. Not Ruto. Jeshi ama constitution.
Right.
One of them will be supreme.
Right.
You know, Richard, I want to think like a politician. Just in a minute. Because I know Ruto will not use the same strategy that he used in 2022. It is very obvious. And he's going to pull a 1997, what happened in Kenya, where there were two people from the same region vying for presidency. And he's going to pull a 2024 election in South Africa. Because he knows, clearly, he's just focused on a grand coalition government. That is where his pain is. You once asked me, what is the position of Baba? And I told you with time you will know.
That time is almost here.
It's almost here.
In 2 to 3 months.
You once asked me, what is this AU all about? AU was just a distraction to me, because the real deal was impeachment of Gachagua. Because we clearly know the stakes at the AU.
I push you to AU, you get me your numbers.
You understand?
We impeach this guy.
You understand? And I've told you here before, these are people who are playing the game. And ideally, Ruto does not need 50 plus 1. He just needs partners. If Musalia stands for presidency, if he stands for presidency, and if someone from here, my region, where we come from, stands for presidency, number 1 and number 2 will join hands to form the government. That's what happens in politics. But our young people don't have this information. We are still playing checkers as they play chess. You understand?
Yes.
So we need to really sit down and look at all the cards on the table.
Yeah.
What is the possibility? Like I told you here before, what is the possibility of us going to the streets? What impact will it change? Ruto clearly knows he has lost the public faith. But he also understands that a mere majority of people who talk the most, now ask the young people, don't even have votes. A mere majority are Mama Mboga who literally believe his word. If you have not seen what happened in Kwale, then you have no idea about what's happening in this country. Why all of a sudden did we do Mashujaa Day in Kwale? That's a political move. But our whole debate is about why Gachagua was not
invited.
You understand?
Yeah.
But this guy is making political moves. He's now interested in the people of the coast. I assure you, by the time 2027 comes, he will have convinced the people of the coast that give me another term. And they will be convinced the same way he convinced the people of the mountain.
So as he's trying to convince them, we should also be having our own plan.
Exactly.
To do the same.
You understand?
Right.
Let us. I solemnly like what Kibaso Morara started.
Yeah.
The only unfortunate bit is he ought to have brought all the stakeholders on the table. Bring great minds like Mariam Ojwang. So that it's not a one-man
fight.
It will be so hard for him to fight an army, but it will be so easy
if he has an army of people.
You understand?
Right.
So at the end of it all, I saw clearly yesterday, or on Sunday, on Mashujaa Day, I saw Ali Hassan Joho. I saw Ali Mvurya. I saw, Achani, the governor.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the whole coast region uniting. That's very dangerous.
That's very dangerous. But as we said, the most dangerous thing that we have currently is the constitution. Once we have it in our hands and we understand that it's supreme and can surpass all of these games, we'll be definitely using new tricks that the old cards can't.
Ideally, I'm trying to really be practical.
Yes.
We might not effect change as we want, just like that.
Yes.
But we might make a dent so that the coming generation, because we have our brothers and sisters who are still watching us.
Yeah.
You know, we are the freedom fighters of the day.
Mm-hmm.
We might not enjoy the freedom itself. You are just telling the stories of what the Mau Mau fought.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a very scary position to be, Richard. The three of us here are having a conversation about a country that we ought to have in the next 30 years. It is very scary. It needs brave men.
Yep.
And ideally, I want to encourage each and every young person.
Mm-hmm.
I watch this show every time. I watch Mariam on Monday. I watch your show on Tuesday. It builds the spirit of the country that we're supposed to build. The freedom fighters that fought for this country in all regions by sweat and blood, we are the freedom fighters of today. We need to reorganize, we need to re-strategize, we need to plan ourselves. Because ideally, also the youths are the enemy of themselves. Today, we are very hungry. And Ruto knows very well to negotiate with our greed. I told you, it's an art. That nikukupatia 50k na hujalipa rent, hauwezi kataa.
That's what your rent kwanza.
Yeah.
Ndio nije mbona umenipatia 50k.
You understand?
Mbona umenipatia baadaye.
By that point of time, I'm already your master.
True. Therefore, be vigilant, especially the young people who have been rallying again around the singled out so-called leaders of the young people. That's also something that we've discussed here from time to time. Not put your faith on individuals. Kama vile Nika nashinda akisema, let's build systems. Venye Ojwang amesema, let's build systems. Hata kama the whole of IEBC is George Ruto chairman, Charlene Ruto vice chairman,
yes.
It won't matter because we have already built systems and we have faith within the young people. Gents, we have less than 15 minutes actually to wrap this up. So I'd like us to move a bit to the Business Daily and then bounce back to the Daily Nation and the Standard to look at more stories. Bank account zenu zinaread aje because Kenyans with over 500,000 in the banks have been revealed. Na wanasema ni watu kiasi, less than 1%. Less than 1% of Kenya's bank accounts have more than 500k. Kwani mmeweka wapi pesa ama hamna kakiru? So here is the Business Daily. Inasema Central Bank has released this information and the number of super rich in Kenya, however, keeps growing. There's me rich and then there's super rich. So the number of super rich in Kenya is among the fastest growing in the continent. However, it's only those few people who are the top 1%, that less than 1%, are the only one whose wealth keeps growing. Which means that gap still keeps expanding. And they have this graphic here of bank accounts and below 5,000, below 500,000 and above 500,000. And this is from 2022 to 2023. Kenya's economy has grown on average by 5% annually over the past decade, but the benefits have not been distributed equally. As I have said again, only the top 1% or only less than 1% of the bank accounts have more than 500k. And I think I read a statistic sometime back here on the show saying that Kenyans who earn a total of 100k or more than 100k per month in Kenya are also less than 10%. Inakwambia nini statistic Ojwang?
Statistic inanikumbusha J.M. Karaoke when he talks of a country of 10 billionaires and 10 million beggars. Tukaandamana bega kwa bega since then hadi saa hizi. Saa hizi bado tunaongelea hatujafika 1% ya watu ambao wako na mali ama wako na pesa. Na inatuhitaji sisi kama wa Kenya kupata tu hiyo information.
Yes.
Sio lazima ukuwe na hizo pesa. Naweza kupea hizo pesa saa hizi. Usikie hata umeshinda 1 million na iishe kesho. But once you know what you can do with this money, getting prepared for that is what will help us. If you are a young Kenyan out there, you should have this information, but don't let this information demean you, make you feel like you've lost hope. Just keep crafting your skills, sharpening them, and getting prepared for an opportune time. Wakikuyu husema poverty has no roots. Kwa nini? Juu wewe unafaa tu kufikiria vile unaweza tumia do every day. Juu one day itashika. Hao wenye wanaendelea kutajirika wanatajirika juu wanajua what to do with the money, ndio maana wanashika wanatumia. Wewe hujui what to do with the money, so ukishika kitu cha kwanza una change dem, kitu cha pili unaanza ku change kile wewe ukunywa for those who take alcohol, kitu cha tatu una change mabeshte badala ufikirie vile hiyo shilingi itasaidia kumulika nyingine.
Na hama Thika Road.
So unaishi tu kulia mabilionea ni wachache. Sisi tutawahi fika. That is not what we're supposed to be talking about. We are supposed to be talking about how are you part of that statistics and how does that statistics affect you.
Yes.
If that's not what you're talking about, wewe ni gazeti tu unasoma, wewe ndo tulikuwa tunaambiwa na uhuru za kufunga nyama. But your information you can use it as a youth, kwanza tunaambia my youth to get there.
Yes.
Tunajua it's a process, it's a step by step, but know each step entails what.
Yes.
Si ufike hapo hivyo umechanganyikiwa vile waheshimiwa huku kwenye Kenya huwa wanachanganyikiwa. They keep telling you mimi nikichaguliwa MC I will do this, mimi nikichaguliwa MP I will do this. Then anafika hapo anasema unajua venye ni ngumu kupata hizi resources. Kwani hauko unajua ni ngumu? Ati gavana ametufinya ndio maana hatuna barabara. Kwani hukujua gavana atakufinya? Ati rais anatupeleka njia mbaya. Kwani ni wewe ndio ulikuwa amekupeleka njia nzuri ndio ukakuwa na confident enough atakupeleka njia nzuri? Get prepared by having that information.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So usishtuke sana that only a few of me and other few guys in the country have about 500,000. Maybe Nick pia kwa najua Nick ako kwa hiyo list ambayo ni mzuri. Be encouraged and get into investment, and nimependa investment advice sana kwa hii show, and we'll do a bit more of that pia. Hii statistic kuna kitu nakwambia before to move.
I'm just trying to put my mind around what the Business Daily wanted us to get ideally, because the issue of social class did not start today. Machiavelli talked about it, Aristotle talked about it, even Jesus himself talked about it.
Yes.
He said, pay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, pay to God what belongs to God. So many things, so many people gave their own theories.
Yes.
But ideally, I look at a country like, for example, Germany. What we need to strive in as a country, I said, minimize the gap, minimize the poverty level, and increase the employment rate. As we speak, today in the morning I was reading that the employment rate in Germany roughly is around 93.27%. Employment. So, and the 7%, out of the 7, 3% just chose not to work. You understand? Yes. So as a country, probably we need to invest, not not just in employment, but in businesses, in sports, in talent. I heard you talk about the starlets.
Yes.
It was very saddening that they lost.
Yeah.
Probably if we had put so much attention to it.
Yeah, we didn't, because they were in a World Cup.
You understand?
And only a few Kenyans are aware that we are in
And
World
we are going to have AFCON
next year
in Kenya.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping very terrified each day, because they will start here in Nairobi, where me and Mariam come from.
It will be in your constituency.
And you see the crime rate will really go high. For those who understand what actually happens in these processes.
Yeah.
So what are the measures that the government is doing?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, let me tell you, Richard, let us focus on building the government, not the political circle. I told you, governments do not, they rarely change their policies. If a road was supposed to pass in between your village, they can only delay the process. But eventually, it will pass. Many Kenyans don't understand that we're supposed to build the government, that there's a difference between
the government,
the head of state, and the president. There's a thin line. The head of state is the head of government. The president is a politician. Most people don't understand that. They don't understand those terminologies of political science. So we need to establish the government system. Are we talking about investments in Ministry of that is called, I don't want to call the other name, it's really bad.
Which one?
That they call it outside here, MITI. It's really bad. Are we going to invest in MITI? You talk about what they actually do.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about the cooperative ministry of the SMEs, the farmers? What are they doing?
Okay.
So at the end of it all, what I let me just say speculate is, how do we as a country minimize the poverty level? Because how I feel in Roysambu in terms of opportunities should be the same opportunity of someone living in Karen.
Yes.
In terms of the government structure. How I feel about the health coverage, it should be very the same. I should have confidence in it.
Yeah.
I should have confidence in the education funding model. That is how we reduce the poverty level in our country.
That's true.
Because right now, the system that has been incorporated in our head, and it is very hard, Richard, that you have to go to school to become a millionaire. It is very hard to eradicate that system. Even our own parents. My dad still believes until today that I ought to have become a teacher. That is very dangerous mentality. He still, until today, after I went to an engineering school, I've done a master's in data science, he's still convinced that, by the way,
hiyo sioni kijipa.
Ungekuwa
mwalimu
because
tungejenga pesa ya serikali ntamu.
I get his argument, because he talks about job security, talks about pension, you understand? But ideally, those systems are not working for us.
Catch up, move on.
You understand?
Yes.
Ideally, I also put up an argument that we've worked so hard as a country to invest on those systems. Let us now work hard as a country to invest on a different system. And that is why we look at what our small children are learning in school. It's totally different from what we went to school. There are so many terminologies I am still trying to catch up.
Yes.
About what they do in school. So what we clearly need to do, Richard, if we want to minimize the gap between class A, B, and C, is work on the systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Kenyans with over 500,000 in bank revealed. Read for yourself. Page 2 of the Business Daily. Let me just do a rundown.
Usitoke kwa economy.
Sitoki kabisa.
Kama hatujaguza the standard, page 22, they're talking about World Bank boss focused on job creation ahead of annual meetings.
Say it. That is important.
So, anasema, ni ujumbe wa the president, World Bank, anaitwa Ajay Banga.
Yes.
1.2 billion young people in the emerging markets will become eligible for a job over the coming 12 to 15 years. the same countries are currently forecast to generate a little north of 400 million jobs, and that's a big gap. What he's failing to tell you is that he's talking about youth getting jobs after 12 to 15 years. Saa hiyo wanaongeza wanasema the global lender, now World Bank, has created an advisory council on jobs. Jobs for who? The youth.
The youth in emerging markets.
Sikia wenye wana lead. Hii ndio kitu yenye tumekuwa nayo. Tuko kwa meza tunaongelelewa. But hatuongelelea.
Hatuongei, tuko kwa hiyo meza tunaangalia.
Kila time sisi ni watoto hatunaga voice. Lazima tuongelelewe. So wanasema the global lender has created an advisory council on jobs, not led by youths, led by Singaporean President Tharman Shanmugaratnam and the former Chilean President Michelle Bachelet.
To talk about jobs for young people.
For young people to get these jobs in a span of 12 to 15 years to come.
Wanatucheza.
So, sahi, now, let me tell you, the youths.
Yes. And it's 9:56 in the morning, so this is also going to be
My last
your
talk.
last remark, yes.
If you are still a youth and you are crying about kupata job, you are doing the wrong thing. If you are a youth, 25 years and above, you should be thinking about creating jobs for your fellow youths. Stop crying ati tutengeneze job. No, let's have job creation. Sisi wenyewe tufanye kitu zetu. Shikaneni vijana wawili watatu wanne, fanyeni kitu, vijana wengine wasaidike. Sio mngojee World Bank wapange, sio mngojee serikali iwapange. What will you do for yourself? Or better still, I ask kama retired former, and may his soul rest in peace, Mwai Kibaki. Unaishi kulia serikali yako haikufanyii, wewe unafanyia nini serikali yako? And I'm telling you, the moment wewe kama kijana utajiuliza hivyo, maze maisha yako yata change.
Right.
Yata change at a personal level.
Thank you, Ojwang Mariam.
As that is happening, nimalize. Yes. To my people of Roysambu, they are crying. Kazi mtaani ziko, it's not in Roysambu. Census enumerators wako, hakuna wa Roysambu. And we are asking, huyo mbunge mwenye yako hapo hivyo, kama hawezi hizi vitu zote na hawezi leta maendeleo, ni nini bado anafanya kwa ofisi? ABC iko wapi? Hiyo ndio tunataka.
Asante sana. Kamande Mwafrika, message kwako kutoka kwa Ojwang Mariam. Kulikuwa na collapse building kwa constituency yenu. Nilikuwa nataka tuongelee lakini next time we'll speak, because it is very ironical that happened on a day when Mashujaa Day celebrations zina involve home ownership and affordable housing.
Na so hiyo building ikianguka
crazy.
Kila siku ya 2 weeks before that walikuwa wanaambiwa hii building inaanguka, hawafanyi anything. Wakaenda wakaekelea machuma hapo hivyo za kuficha mahali watu wanaona cracks. Until a wiki ikasemekana wahame by Monday. Hii Monday imetoka jana.
Yes.
Ilianguka before that. On Mashujaa Day, a Sunday watu wako home.
Right. Tutakuja kuongelea siku yake. Nick, 30 seconds. At best.
At best.
Yes.
So, well, I think my message is very clear to Kenyans today. And it's a very sad situation that we have done politics for 2 years. We have not focused really much on how to improve our country. And I told you here before, by the time 2027 comes, Kenyans will really be tired of so many things. And I want to tell Kenyans that this is an opportunity for you to reflect and to watch where you want to go. And then 2, I want to invite Kenyans to recently you've been asking me what I've been up to, Richard. Yes. And probably it's imperative I tell you that me and my friends, as Mariam is talking about, we took an initiative to register a political party. So I want to encourage all Kenyans to go search Kenya Ahadi Party. And if you feel that you can be a change maker of this country, wherever you are, please go there, register. It is your vote, it is your voice that will speak for you. Finally, I want to pass my greetings to the people of Mount Kenya Colleges and University Association, because they have employed me here to come to speak about their issues.
Yes.
And to say that we as a people of young leaders of the mountain are still vigilant, that we shall not give up on our dreams.
All right.
And I pass my regards to the people of Resambo, because it is very, very clear that we need to talk more about our issues. And I'm really happy today that you have had you have had two young men from Resambo.
Yes.
And the urge to make our home better is there.
Thank you
so
much.
Thank you so much to this platform.
Thank you too.
Thank you to you, and also thank you to Director Ryan.
All right.
Yes.
Those are the two gentlemen I had today, Ojwang Mariam, Nick Madime Mwangi, the future leadership, current future leadership, Resambo constituency, Nairobi County, and Kenya at large, involving myself. My name is Richard Okenye. Thank you for watching Biashara Tuesday. See you next week.